How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the movie Castle, and today we're going to be finishing up Sharks of Summer. Yeah, I can't believe it's over already as well. For those of you guys who are new to the channel, Sharks of Summer is where once a week during the summer, at least once a week, I cover a shark movie, and it's the last week of September. I can't believe it's here already. So of course, we're going to cover a classic. This is Jaws, the granddaddy of all the shark films. And I wanted to do a bigger finale where I covered all the sequels, but time just kind of got away from me, and now Halloween is knocking at my door, and I gotta start doing Halloween stuff. I will get to the sequels. I don't know how soon, but I will get to them. Maybe November or something. But anyway, Jaws from 1975. This is the biggest shark movie. This is the one that spawned the subgenre. It's one of the top 10 horror films of all time. One of the best movies of all time. And if you haven't seen it, by some wild happenstance, go watch it right now. I think at the moment, at the time of recording, it's streaming on Netflix. Go watch it as soon as you can. It is one of the best movies ever made. Jaws from 1975, directed by Steven Spielberg. This wasn't his first movie. I believe that was Duel. But this was the one that launched Steven Spielberg's career and made him the great director slash producer that he would wind up being. So this all started here. This movie stars Roy Schneider, Robert Shaw, and Richard Dreyfuss, and they're all really great, amazing actors. Those are your three leads. This is based on the novel by Peter Benchley, and they kept him around to help write the script as well, so that's cool. And this features music by John Williams. Maybe I don't cover music as much as I should on this channel, but with Jaws, it's really hard to ignore. Everybody knows the theme, you know, the Sharks theme, da-da-da-da. It's a classic, you know, it's kind of like how Jason with the ch-ch-ch, you know, he has his own musical stinger, you know, and that's really great. And everybody talks about the main theme, but the rest of the music in here is really good as well. And maybe the theme kind of overshadows that, but the rest of this music is really big seaside adventure and horror, and it all is timed perfectly. And just pay attention to the music. It's awesome in this movie. So yeah, John Williams for that. But anyway, like I said, this is such a big and classic movie, and that leads me to two things. One, I don't know how much new I'll have to say about this movie because so many people have talked about it, but I want to talk about it, so I will. I want to. The other thing is, there's so much I want to say about this movie. I could ramble on forever, but these reviews are like 10 to 20 minutes, so I'll try to keep it concise, but I might find a way to return to this movie, just because, I mean, I could talk about Jaws all day. But anyway, definitely recommend it. Now, all that being said, I'm going to start talking a little bit about the plot. I'm not going to do any major spoilers, but if you guys haven't seen it, I'd recommend checking it out. But no major spoilers. I do want to say my piece on a few plot points and make sure you guys have a basic understanding as to what the movie's about, but nothing major. We open up with a classic opening. It's a hook that really gets you into the movie. One of the best movies of all time, one of the best openings of all time. I guess that makes sense. But there's a bunch of young people around a campfire, and two of them, a guy and a girl, they seem to really click, and they run off together. And the guy passes out drunk on the beach. The girl starts skinny dipping, and she's yanked under the water by a mysterious force very violently. This we know to be the shark. But it's such a strange and memorable death. There's so many iconic scenes just in the first little bit here. It really does its job as a hook. Now, the guy wakes up the next morning, and the girl's not there. He's concerned that she is drowned, and he calls the police, which is where we meet our main character, Sheriff Brody. And Sheriff Brody, he's a really good character, instantly likable, really easy to follow, but he's this guy who was in New York. He's been at Amity Island less than a year, and he's wanted peace and quiet. And he's getting that. It's not as bad as New York, but he's sort of become the man who fixes all the town's little problems. A truck's parked where it shouldn't be. Some guy's got to come talk to him about that. Someone calls his secretary, and the secretary's like, yeah, the kids from that karate school are karateing picket fences. We got to get them to stop. And it's like little tiny problems like that, yet the whole town always comes to him for everything. And there's also a really ironic twist in his character. He's afraid of drowning, yet he's on an island, so really ironic there. But anyway, he goes down to the beach, and one of his deputies finds pieces of the girl that got eaten by the shark. They've washed up on the beach, and it's like this severed hand. And I do want to say, Jaws is known for keeping a lot off screen, but it doesn't get talked about super often. This movie has some pretty good gore in it. Like, I remember when I was a kid, because I saw this movie pretty young, the severed arm, the severed leg, they looked so real and it was so creepy. And these effects really do hold up today. So not enough people talk about it. Jaws has some good gore in it. By the way, rated PG, back when parental guidance actually meant something. Nowadays, PG's a joke, it's just a repeat of G. But this is PG, and the shark freaking eats a bunch of people. Keep that in mind, kids. But anyway, so he gets the call from the coroner. The coroner says it's a shark attack, so he goes to close down the beaches, which is where we meet the mayor. The mayor gets wind that he's going to shut down the beaches, and the mayor says, well, you don't really have the authority to do this. We're going to keep the beaches open. You see, Amity Island is a summer town, and they need summer dollars. And this movie is actually broken up into a 2-act structure. Most other movies are 3. Jaws is a 2-act structure. The first half is admitting to a danger and how does society react to a problem. And the second half is shark hunting and character study. Not that there wasn't character study in the beginning too, but super heavy on character study. And the mayor, as opposed to the shark, is the real villain of the first half of the movie. He's this guy, and it's really well-founded. You see where he's coming from, it's just he pushes it way too far. You see, this is a summer town. Businesses will go out of business if you close the beach, and it's the 4th of July, the biggest holiday for this small town, and if you close the beaches, people will really suffer. So he has a logical beginning point, but it's just how far he takes it, how much he downplays it, how much he keeps sending people out there knowing that there's probably something in the water, and just how much he's willing to cover it up. And the fact that, you know, he could deal with this problem. Quint, from the second half of the movie, says, hey, if you pay me money, I will take care of it. But he's just unwilling to spend that $10,000 to hire Quint. And that really is, you know, where you see him start off at this place that we all understand, but just go further and further into being a scumbag. And he really is a good movie villain. But that's the first half, is getting society to admit there's something there, seeing how people react to the problem, seeing different concerns from different angles and passing the blame around. And it really is an interesting, well-rounded story. But that's the beginning, is getting people to admit there's a problem and getting someone to actually do something about it. And then you lead to the second half. In the second half, you get people going out after the shark. And it is shark hunting, but it's also a character study of people from 3 different levels of experience. The captain of the boat, Quint, knows everything. He's old, he's been at sea for a long time, he'll drink, he'll sing sea shanties, and he'll be kind of rude, but he knows everything. Then you get Hooper, who's a marine biologist who came to help Sheriff Brody out, and he knows a lot. He's rich and has a bunch of technology, and he's a perfect foil for Quint. The two will clash, but they don't make it where one's right and one's wrong constantly. They both kind of, will have their own points of view, and sometimes one's right, sometimes the other's right, and getting these two to learn to appreciate each other and work together. There's a lot of fighting in this movie, but it never feels forced, and you always see where the characters are coming from. So Quint knows a lot, Hooper knows a lot, but he's much younger, and then you get Sheriff Brody, the outsider character, the audience point of view character. He's afraid of drowning. He doesn't like water. So when he's on the boat, he has no experience. He doesn't know how to tie a knot. He doesn't have any cool scars. And he doesn't know his way around the boat as well as the rest of the characters. But he's your point of view character. So he's going to have to step up. And he has to handle a lot more than you would rationally have to expect him to handle. He's the character that goes from zero, and by the end of this boat thing, if he doesn't become the cool shark hunter that he needs to be, it's going to wind up terribly. And that is a cool setup, and you really get to see how these characters work. And also, shark hunting. They don't, like so many other shark movies that came after this, you don't really get the sense of, how shark hunting works in the other movies. They just kind of come up with something at the end, and yeah, that plan will defeat the shark, whatever. But here, it all makes sense. It's all laid out. It's all on paper. Quint's hunted sharks for his whole life. He knows how to do it. You shoot him with a harpoon that's got a rope with a barrel of air on the end. The barrels of air tire out the shark. He gets closer to the surface because he doesn't want to fight him. And when he's up on the top, you kill him. I love how well thought out this is. It makes sense. And I definitely love that, so many times when a plan has to work, when characters have to do something, they just go, made a plan and it works, But here, it's so systematic. It makes sense, This is how you beat a shark, And I really do love that it was thought out, and that it really needs more praise. But anyway, big pros with this movie. Character. Everyone, you know where they're coming from, and it makes sense. There's little characters in this movie, like there's a town hall meeting, and you get to see just a little bit of this lady who owns a hotel, and she's worried if they shut down the beaches that it'll ruin her financially. And she's just there, she just makes a few remarks, but you understand who she is and where she's coming from. And there's so many little side characters that all just seem realistic and believable, but then you go all the way up to the leads, and there's so many little moments where these do feel like real people, and when they clash with each other, the fights feel real. When they fight, they talk loud, they talk over each other, and everybody here is just so real and fleshed out. Grade A in realistic, believable characters, and a realistic, believable set. This whole movie looks nice, and when you're in Amity, you feel like you're in Amity. When you're on the boat, the Orca, you feel like you're on the boat. There's just something so real and so believable about all this. This movie's also directed really, really well. And Steven Spielberg, there's so many nice shots. The boat going out to the ocean, and we see it through a window with a shark jawbone kind of framing it. Beautiful shot. There's another scene where someone dies on the beach, and you get to see the shark eat someone. Everybody run out of the water, and then one lady, the kid's mother, kind of separates from the group. Where's my son? It's such a great and dark reveal, and this whole movie is directed perfectly. It's perfectly paced. There's no fat. Every scene is perfect, and it's one of those movies when you watch it for like the thousandth time, you see that, you're jumping from memorable scene to memorable scene, and there's little elements, that tie in, the kid's on a boat later on, but you get to see that boat earlier as like, they reference it as being his birthday present, and then like a kid cuts his hand on a swing. You don't see this, but they reference the swing, and then later you're outside of his house and you can actually see it. Just a tiny little detail. But one of the biggest things with the end, and I won't spoil what the ending is, but if you've seen this movie before and you know how it ends, keep that in mind, because the ending of this movie is foreshadowed in so many other ways. The ending of this movie, you can see bits and pieces of it referenced and hinted at, And it is so beautifully set up and foreshadowed. You know, a line of dialogue, a page in a book, seeing a prop do something. It's just really nice, just the way this ending is so foreshadowed throughout the rest of this movie. So you're on board and you're in with it. It is perfect. But one last thing we have to talk about. This movie had immense production problems. This is amazing it came out as well as it did. It's amazing it even got done. But one of the biggest production problems was the shark. And really, if you have time, go look up the behind the scenes for this movie. Look up the crazy stories that went into making this. But the shark, Bruce, as the prop team called him, the mechanical shark kept malfunctioning. So they had to cut down on how much you could see it. And this is one of those things that, you know, filmmakers would take away from this, is you can build tension when the character's off screen. And even though you can't literally see the shark, you see it in so many other metaphorical ways, in lines of dialogue, in pictures, in props, the barrels popping up. You don't see the shark, but you see the barrels. And it really works. Now, I do have to say this is one of those lessons that a lot of young filmmakers learn incorrectly. The thing is here, Spielberg couldn't show the shark, but he realized he could show it metaphorically and he could build up tension, build up to the reveal. And he does reveal it. You can actually see the shark quite a bit at the ending of the film. So you do get a payoff. But so many young filmmakers like, oh, so to be scary, I just don't show anything? Right. You know, and they don't have a payoff, and they don't metaphorically show it to us, you know? That's the thing, is you don't just not show something in a movie to make it scary. That's a mistranslation. That's wrong. Even though you don't see the shark for most of this movie, you metaphorically see it. You set it up, you build up tension, and that is a crucial thing that a lot of young filmmakers miss, is he had to work to not show it. He didn't just not show it. He put in the work to make not showing it worth it. And also, there was a payoff. You do see the shark at the end. So many other young filmmakers, it's a shadow monster, who cares? So it works well here. And when people learn this right, they can do tension really well. I mean, think Negan in the Walking Dead comics. You hear so much about Negan before you actually see him. And that really is good build-up. But yeah, this is just one of those lessons that a lot of filmmakers learn wrong. You know, if you don't show something literally, you still have to metaphorically show it. You still have to build up, and you do actually need a payoff to all the build-up. So, you know, learn this lesson right. It's not just don't show your monster. You have to do it right. You have to have build-up. You have to show it in other ways, and you do have to eventually have some sort of payoff there. So it is kind of frustrating how so many other people don't learn this lesson right. You know, it's all about the tension. And that's the thing with this movie. So much tension, so much build-up, so much getting all the little details perfect. And this is just well-crafted. It's a well-crafted movie. Like I said, one of the best films of all time, quite easily. And I'm a super huge fan about it. And to be honest, I could talk about this movie all day, but I'm going to have to end it here. I've said all my major points on it. I might find some way to come back and talk about Jaws more later. I really want to. This is one of my longer videos, but it could easily be way longer if I let it. Just me rambling like a madman talking about Jaws. Anyway, I will get to the sequel sometime. I don't know if that'll be November or if that'll be later, next summer, I don't know. But I do want to watch those sequels and see what they're like. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked, commented, subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I really do appreciate it. Anyway, I'll put a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my Sharks playlist. So if you want to see me review other shark movies, you know, lesser known stuff, cheesier stuff, Sharknado, my shark movies are there. My reviews for them. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist at the bottom. Have a good day now.